1 point. That was all it was supposed to take. One single swing of the racket to end the dream and send the rising star back to the practice courts with nothing but a better luck next time handshake. As the desert sun began to dip behind the mountains of Indian Wells, Eala was staring into the abyss, her back against the wall and the weight of an entire nation resting on her tired shoulders. Diana Yastremska, a woman who had tasted the rarefied air of a Grand Slam semifinal, was standing across the net, ready to deliver the final blow. The scoreboard looked like a death sentence. The momentum was a ghost. Most spectators had already begun to gather their things, convinced that the narrative was written and the conclusion was inevitable. But what they didn't realize was that Eala doesn't follow scripts. She rewrites them with blood, sweat, and a level of defiance that should be impossible for a 20-year-old. Instead of fading away, she ignited a fire that would incinerate the expectations of the tennis world. And that's when things took a completely unexpected turn. The stadium, which had been buzzing with the quiet anticipation of an ending, suddenly felt a shift in the atmosphere as Eala began to claw her way back from the edge of the cliff. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement that has now set the stage for a collision course with the most dominant force in American tennis. Waiting for her in the next round is the reigning queen of the court, Coco Gauff. But if you think this is just another routine match on the calendar, you are missing the real story, because for Eala, this is more than a tournament. It is a shot at ultimate redemption after a humiliation that many thought she would never recover from. To understand the gravity of what is about to happen, we have to look back at the moment the world thought the Filipino sensation had finally met her match. The battle against Yastremska was a grueling, 3-set war of attrition that tested the very soul of both competitors. From the opening serve, Yastremska brought the kind of raw, unadulterated power that has made her a nightmare for opponents on the WTA Tour. Her ground strokes were like guided missiles, painting the lines and forcing Eala into a desperate defensive scramble. The first set was a tactical masterclass in survival. Eala, training out of the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy, showed the trademark resilience that has become her calling card. She wasn't just hitting balls. She was solving a puzzle in real time. Every time Yastremska looked to pull away, Eala found a way to tether herself to the scoreline. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife as the first set pushed toward a tiebreak territory. In a display of veteran-like composure, Eala seized a late break and took the opening set 7-5. But in professional tennis, a lead is often a dangerous illusion. Yastremska roared back in the second set, her aggression turning into a tidal wave that Eala simply couldn't hold back. The Ukrainian took the second set 6-4, and suddenly we were in the deep waters of a deciding set. This is where champions are forged and where the weak are broken. As the third set progressed, it looked as though Eala's legs were finally giving out. Yastremska surged to a lead that felt insurmountable. She was serving for the match. The commentators were already looking at the brackets, preparing to write Eala's exit interview. But what happened next shocked everyone in the stadium. With her back to the wall, Eala transformed. She stopped playing safe and started playing with a terrifying freedom. She attacked the Yastremska serve with a ferocity that stunned the Ukrainian. Point by point, the lead evaporated. The crowd was on its feet, witnessing the birth of a legend as Eala rattled off game after game, eventually closing out the match 7-5 in the third. It was her first ever main draw win at the prestigious Indian Wells, a milestone that should have been the headline of the day. But the real drama was only just beginning. As soon as the handshake was over, the tennis world turned its eyes to the next round. Because by winning this match, Eala had just forced a revenge showdown with the woman who had crushed her spirits only weeks prior. We have to talk about Dubai. Just a short time ago, Eala walked onto the court to face Coco Gauff in a match that was supposed to be a measuring stick for her progress. Instead, it was a massacre. Gauff, the world number 3 and a global icon, dismantled Eala with a clinical efficiency that was almost painful to watch. Eala was only able to secure 2 games in the entire match. It wasn't just a loss. It was a demolition that left many wondering if the gap between the rising stars and the elite was still a canyon that couldn't be crossed. The media was quick to dismiss the young Filipina, suggesting she wasn't ready for the big stage. But Eala is a student of the game, And she didn't view that loss as a failure. She viewed it as a blueprint. And that's why this upcoming rematch is the most anticipated moment of her career. The narratives are perfectly aligned. On one side, you have the hometown hero, the American prodigy who has already achieved what most only dream of. Coco Gauff enters this match with the confidence of a Grand Slam champion and the backing of a California crowd that treats her like royalty. On the other side, you have the underdog who has spent every waking hour since Dubai dreaming of this exact moment. But what happened after that moment changed everything for Eala's psychological approach. She began to realize that to beat a player like Gauff, she couldn't just be a better version of herself. She had to be a different player entirely. Gauff is a defensive wall. She forces you to hit that extra ball, to take that extra risk, until you eventually crumble under the weight of your own errors. In Dubai, Eala fell right into that trap. But at Indian Wells, the conditions are different. The air is thinner, the ball jumps higher, and Eala is carrying the momentum of a miraculous comeback. The debate among fans is reaching a fever pitch. Some say that Gauff's athleticism is a hurdle that Eala simply cannot clear. They point to Gauff's movement, her ability to turn defense into offense in the blink of an eye, and her improved serve that now clocks in at speeds that rival the men's tour. However, the Eala supporters see something different. They see a player who has just discovered her clutch gene. They see a player who refused to die against a powerhouse like Yastremska and who now has the tactical data to adjust her game plan against Gauff. Eala herself has been quiet, but her coach and team have hinted at a massive tactical shift. They know that trying to outgrind Gauff is a losing battle. Instead, rumors from the practice courts suggest Eala has been working on shortening the points, utilizing more variety, and coming to the net to take time away from the American. But will it be enough? Every 2 to 3 minutes in a match like this, the momentum can swing on a single double fault or a missed overhead. The psychological pressure on Eala is immense. Not only is she playing for revenge, but she is also playing for history. With her recent wins, she is projected to break into the top 30 of the WTA rankings, a feat never before achieved by a player from the Philippines. This isn't just a personal milestone. It is a national movement. Millions of fans back home will be waking up in the early hours of the morning to watch their hero face the ultimate test. But then, just when the excitement reached its peak, a new layer of drama emerged. Reports began to surface about the physical toll the Yastremska match took on Eala's body. She was seen with heavy taping on her thigh during her post-match cooldown, leading many to wonder if she will even be at 100% when she steps out to face the most athletic player on the tour. If Eala is hampered by even 5%, Gauff will exploit it. The American is ruthless when she senses weakness. Gauff herself has been complimentary of Eala, noting her grit and her technical foundation, but make no mistake, on the court, there are no friends. Gauff wants to send a message to the rest of the field that she is the undisputed alpha of this generation. She wants to show that Dubai was no fluke and that the gap between her and the rest of the pack is only growing. This sets up a fascinating psychological dynamic. Does Eala enter the match with the nothing-to-lose mentality of a dangerous underdog, or does the weight of the previous blowout linger in the back of her mind like a shadow she can't shake? Tennis is as much a mental game as it is a physical one, and the first 4 games of this rematch will tell us everything we need to know. If Eala can hold her serve and show Gauff that she won't be bullied this time, we could be in for one of the greatest upsets in Indian Wells history. But if Gauff breaks early and starts to dictating play with her backhand, the ghosts of Dubai might return to haunt the young challenger. The social media world is divided. The hashtags are trending. The experts are making their predictions, most of them siding with the champion. But sports aren't played on paper. They are played in the dirt, in the heat, and in the moments where your lungs are burning and your heart is pounding against your ribs. Eala has already proven she can survive the fire. Now she has to prove she can control it. This match represents a crossroads for her career. A win doesn't just put her in the next round. It catapults her into the conversation of elite title contenders. It would be the kind of victory that changes the trajectory of a life. As the lights turn on over the main stadium and the crowd begins to roar, the 2 players will make that long walk from the tunnel to the court. They will pass the photos of past champions, the legends who have made this tournament the fifth Grand Slam. For Gauff, it is a familiar walk. For Eala, it is the walk she has been preparing for since she first picked up a racket in Manila. She knows the odds. She knows the critics. She knows the history. But most importantly, she knows that she is not the same player who lost in Dubai. She is stronger, she is faster, and she is fueled by the incredible energy of a comeback that shouldn't have been possible. The world is watching, the stage is set, and the revenge showdown is finally here. Whatever happens on that court, the tennis landscape has been forever altered by the resilience of a young woman who refused to stay down. The future of the sport is being written right now, and as the umpire calls time, we are about to find out if the underdog can finally slay the giant and complete the most unbelievable chapter of her journey yet. This is more than a game. It is the beginning of a new era, and the world is holding its breath to see who will be left standing when the dust finally settles in the desert. The road to the top is never easy, but after what we witnessed against Yastremska, one thing is certain: you can never, ever count out Alex Eala. The lights are bright, the pressure is astronomical, and the story is only just beginning, leaving us all to wonder if this is the moment the student finally becomes the master or if the champion will remind us why she wears the crown.